Hello, my name is Wyatt Atkins, and this is my partner Hunter Patterson. And today we will be showing you our research on the effects moving around a lot as a child can have on social and emotional development. To begin with, I will start with our abstract. Our research statement is that we feel, based on our own experience with moving around, that our social and emotional development has been affected negatively. We wanted to see if this truly is what happens. So we searched for articles relating to this topic. We found some articles that related to our topic on the emotional, behavioral, and academic adjustments of children. We specifically found articles that are based on children moving to new areas and the effects that can have on children. Our question for this research being, can moving around at a young age affect a child's social and emotional development? With our hypothesis being, if a child moves around a lot, then their social and emotional development will be affected. Our method for this research is reviewing 3 published articles and interviewing a few people of interest for our research. For this, we found that there is a good chance that a child's social and emotional development will be affected by constantly moving. Interestingly, though, our research uncovered that it seems that a child's cognitive development in an academic sense is not affected as much compared to a child's social and emotional development. From this, we suggest that a child's experience moving a lot, if a child is experiencing moving a lot, they should always have someone for emotional and support during the move.
Onto background, a related aspect of child development is the effect of moving on a child's social and emotional development. The book Child Development, Education, Self-Addition describes social and emotional development as systematic changes in emotions, self-concept, motivation, social relationships, moral reasoning, and behavior. Moving around a lot can affect a child's emotional development in their industry versus inferiority stage by basically they feel inferior to their new peers, in the trust versus mistrust stage by moving. The child can oftentimes feel betrayed by the parents, and that betrayal can later lead on to the relationships later on down the line. They're going to be affected. It can affect a child's social development by during the early adolescent stage. The child can often reflect on themselves in a negative way when in a new environment surrounded by new peers, and causes the self-esteem to drop.
On to the methods section. The interview questions we used for this, well, the more specific interview questions, the most important ones in our opinion, is: did you find it difficult to adapt to the new social environment after moving? Do you feel that your own personal emotional growth has been stunted because of moving? And these questions are important because they directly relate to social and emotional development. And the articles we reviewed for this are Changing Places, Resilience in Children Who Move, Military Children and Family Strengths That Change in Peace and War. Oh, sorry. It's out of the way. And Military Children and Families, Strengthened and Challenging During Peace and War. Effects of multiple deployments on military families, a cross-section study of health and well-being of parents and children.
From the research, this is the results, by the way, I'm sorry. From the research, we found that according to study 3, effect of multiple deployments on military families, kids who moved or had the parents deployed 2 or more times often have fewer odds compared to kids who moved one move or deployment. This basically suggests that the first couple of moves are more detrimental on a child's abnormal pro-social behavior compared to 2 or more. Second study, Military Children and Families, showed that kids who must move or have their parents deploy often are 2.5 times more likely to show risk of psychosocial difficulties than kids who don't move. Based off the answers of the 2 interview questions mentioned in the method section, children who move often have their social and emotional development either stunted or neglected, depending on the child.
And the discussion we bring up, these studies we went over also strengthen our hypothesis that if a child moves around a lot, then their social and emotional development will be affected in a negative way. In the third study we went over, the author stated the odds of abnormal pro-social behavior increases with the number of deployments that were highest of those people who have experienced 4 or more deployments. The odds of abnormal total difficulties were higher in those who had experienced at least 1 deployment compared to the families who experienced no deployments. This statement backs up our hypothesis in a pretty clear way. Also, just to clarify, after the parent deploys and comes back, the child and parent will move within the next year or 2 of the development. So when a parent is deployed often, the child has to move around more often than normal. Our hypothesis was also backed up by the author of the second study when they stated these frequent relocations disturbs children's social network activities and social networks, requiring ongoing adjustment to new schools and cultures. Children can grow up feeling rootless and may have difficulties building deeper relationships or maintaining long-term connections. This quote perfectly legitimizes our claim in the hypothesis. Of course, all these studies in general, not just these bits and pieces of them back up our hypothesis, these examples from the studies we just have listed are just the most clear and concise examples.
For recommendations of future directions, our research, through our research, we've come up with a couple ways to mitigate the problems children may face if they do move. One of the most obvious ones would be try not to move. If you plan on having a child, try to keep a stable environment, stable home, and just keep them around the same areas and same people, so they don't have their social and emotional development affected in a very negative way. The other option is if you have to move because you're military, divorce, any of those, would be to try to support your child as much as you can and get them out into meeting their new environment, getting used to the new environment, meeting new people, and getting involved in their school in their new life. The best thing for a child right now during this time would be support from their parents and reassurance constantly, just to make sure they know they are okay and loved.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you very much.